My dear, you think letting go is hard. Let me tell you, it's not just hard. It feels impossible. It's like trying to hold back the ocean with your bare hands, like standing in front of a roaring wildfire with nothing but a tiny cup of water. You pour your soul into something or someone, and when it's time to let it go, it feels like you're tearing a piece of your own heart out and throwing it into the wind. Every fiber of your being screams, no. I need this. I want this. And yet, life has this cruel way of forcing you to pry your fingers open, one excruciating inch at a time. Oh, I know. I've seen it all. I've watched people hang on to things so tightly, you'd think their very lives depended on it. And sometimes, it feels like it does, doesn't it? Like if you let go, you'll lose yourself. But here's the thing, clinging to something that's slipping away is like trying to hold on to smoke. The more you chase it, the further it floats out of reach. And you, my friend, are left gasping for air, grasping at nothing. Letting go of a person. That's no small task. It feels like trying to tear the moon out of the sky with your bare hands. You replay every memory, every conversation, every what if and maybe. You drown in the thought that if you just try harder, if you just hold on a little longer, things will change. But let me tell you something, sometimes, no amount of holding on will make that person come back. You could shout into the heavens, you could beg the universe itself, but some things, some people, are simply meant to be let go. It's as if the universe itself is testing you, asking, are you strong enough to walk away from what's not meant for you? And those missed opportunities, they haunt you, don't they? Like a phantom whispering in your ear at night. You should have done this, or, if only you'd acted faster. It gnaws at your mind, leaving you restless, tossing and turning. But listen closely, the opportunity you're clinging to might be nothing more than a dead-end road. You're stuck, trying to beat down a door that's already locked, while life is standing behind you, pointing to another path. A brighter path. But you can't see it because you're too busy staring at that one closed door, pounding on it with bloody fists. Letting go is not about giving up. No, no, no. It's about freeing yourself. Imagine this, holding onto something that's not meant for you is like clutching onto a rope that's burning your hands. You feel the pain, but you tell yourself, just a little longer, maybe it'll stop hurting. But it won't stop hurting until you let go. The more you cling, the deeper the wounds. But the moment you release, the relief, my friend, it's like a weight you didn't even know you were carrying just vanishes. Let go, not because it's easy, but because your soul deserves the space to grow. Let go, because holding on is dragging you down into a pit you can't climb out of. And trust me, once you do, the world will open up in ways you can't even imagine right now. The horizon will stretch out before you, vast and full of possibilities. You'll breathe easier, sleep deeper, and wake up with a lightness in your heart you haven't felt in years. So, I say to you, open your hands. Open them wide. Let life take what it needs to, and let it bring what it will. Because only when you let go of the past, can you embrace the future waiting for you. What is destined will reach you, even if it be underneath two mountains. What is not destined will not reach you, even if it be between your two lips, holds a wisdom that transcends time. Let's sit with it for a moment and really reflect on the magnitude of what it's saying. Picture those two towering mountains, their peaks lost in the clouds, solid and immovable, seeming to guard whatever lies beneath them. They stand as symbols of the impossible, of obstacles so vast, so intimidating, that you might think nothing could ever pass through them. Yet, here's where destiny shows its true power. What is meant for you, no matter how hidden, no matter how unlikely, will find its way. It could be buried under the weight of 1,000 obstacles, but fate has its own mysterious pull, and it will carve out a path that no human hand could ever foresee. Now, let's flip that coin. Something you desire, something you've dreamed of and chased after, it could be right there, so close that it's almost touching your lips, ready to become a part of your reality. And yet, even at the last moment, it can slip away. Why? Because it was never meant to be yours. Destiny is not swayed by our desires, by our wants, or even by our greatest efforts. It has a plan of its own, and it only delivers what truly belongs to you. And that, my friend, brings us to the real struggle we face in life, understanding when something is not meant for us. Think about it. How often do we fight and fight for things that only bring us pain? We hang on to a relationship that tears us apart, or we cling to a dream that drains our energy, or we pursue a goal that leaves us feeling empty. Yet, we persist, don't we? We tell ourselves that if we just try harder, push more, then it'll finally work out. But here's the truth we need to accept: anything that feels forced, anything that requires you to constantly swim upstream and fight against an unyielding current, is not meant for you. We complicate life endlessly. We are creatures of desire, driven by a need to possess, to achieve, to make things happen. But let me tell you something from my years of experience: the harder you push against what isn't meant for you, the more resistance you'll face. You'll find yourself exhausted, mentally drained, emotionally torn apart. And the worst part? Even if you manage to get what you wanted, it won't bring you peace. You may clutch it in your hands, but it'll feel hollow, unsatisfying. You'll know, deep down, that it was never truly yours to begin with. Let me share a story to illustrate this. Imagine a man who sees a beautiful bird in a cage. He desires the bird, so he takes it home, thinking that by having it, he will feel joy and contentment. But the bird, though lovely, was never meant to live in captivity. It sings less and less each day, and eventually, its song fades into silence. The man, despite having the bird right there in front of him, feels a deep sadness. The thing he wanted so badly has brought him no happiness, because it was never his to possess. And so it is with life: when you force something that isn't meant for you, it loses its beauty, its joy, and instead, it brings you sorrow. But, oh, the beauty of things that are meant for you. They come with a sense of ease, a flow, a natural harmony that is undeniable. Think about a time in your life when something just clicked. Maybe it was meeting a person who became a dear friend, maybe it was a job opportunity that fell into your lap at exactly the right moment, or maybe it was a decision you made that seemed effortless but turned out to be life-changing. These moments, when things fall into place without a struggle, are what destiny feels like. And here's the key: when you let go of what is not meant for you, you make space for what is. It's like standing in a garden, surrounded by weeds. As long as you keep holding on to those weeds, nurturing them, hoping they'll turn into flowers, you're denying the real blooms a chance to grow. But the moment you pull those weeds out, no matter how attached you are to them, you give space for the true flowers of your life to flourish. That's why having faith in destiny is so important. When you trust that what is meant for you will find its way, you can let go of the relentless need to control every outcome. You can release that person who isn't right for you, or that opportunity that causes you more stress than joy, or that expectation that weighs heavily on your shoulders. And when you do, when you release these things, you'll find that life has a way of delivering exactly what you need. Not always what you want, but what you need. And trust me, the things you need, the things that are meant for you, will bring a deep sense of peace, fulfillment, and joy. Now, I'm not saying you should sit back and wait for life to hand you everything on a silver platter. No, life still requires effort, still demands that you pursue your goals and dreams. But there's a difference between pursuing something that feels right, that flows naturally, and forcing something that constantly resists. You will know, deep in your gut, when something is aligned with your destiny. It will feel like the pieces of a puzzle falling into place. There may be challenges, sure, but those challenges won't drain you, they'll invigorate you. They'll feel like stepping stones, not roadblocks. So, my dear friend, when you find yourself at a crossroads, faced with the decision of whether to keep holding on or to let go, ask yourself this: is this thing bringing me peace? Or is it causing me more distress? Does it feel like I'm constantly fighting against the tide? Or is it something that, despite the obstacles, feels like it's moving in the right direction? Trust that life knows what is meant for you, even when you don't. Trust that destiny, like a river, will carry you exactly where you need to go, if only you have the courage to let go of what's weighing you down. And when you do, you'll see. You'll feel the beauty of life unfolding in ways you could never have planned or imagined. Things will just happen, against all odds, without force, without struggle. They will find you. And you will find peace in knowing that they were always meant to be yours. The feeling of being stuck, where the mere thought of staying feels unbearable, but the idea of leaving feels just as impossible. It's a heavy burden, one that weighs on the soul like a boulder on a fragile bridge. But my young friend, if you find yourself at this crossroads, it's because you've been fighting tirelessly, trying to bend the world to your will, trying to grasp something that perhaps was never truly yours to hold. It is a universal experience, this struggle to make sense of time and effort when it feels like it's been spent in vain. But let me tell you something from the depths of my years: nothing is ever truly a waste of time. Every single moment, those sleepless nights of worry, the energy you poured into someone or something that no longer serves you, even the heartache, all of it was a teacher. You've been learning, growing, becoming more than you were before. The mistake, my dear one, is not in the effort you made, but in the belief that because you've already come this far, you must now stay and see it through to the bitter end. This is where many fall into the trap. They cling to something toxic, something that has long since turned sour, because the mind whispers, it's too late to turn back now. But is it truly? I tell you, it is never too late to change course, to rewrite your story. Do not fall for the illusion that the time and energy spent requires you to endure more suffering. That, my friend, is how you build a life of quiet misery. Here is where the power of letting go comes in. And I say power, because it is a strength most people don't realize they have until they've exercised it. Letting go is not a sign of failure or defeat. Quite the contrary, it is an act of tremendous courage. It means you have realized that clinging to this situation, this person, this unfulfilled dream, is only adding weight to your heart, and you're finally ready to lay that burden down. Oh, the freedom that awaits on the other side of that decision. And here's the beautiful truth: when you let go, when you release your grip on something that's been suffocating you, a new kind of peace washes over you. The kind of peace that comes with knowing you no longer have to fight. The heaviness lifts, and you finally find yourself breathing deeply once again. The serenity that fills your soul is not something that comes from staying stuck, it comes from embracing change, from understanding that sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away. Let go, my young friend. There is no shame in it. There is no failure in choosing your own well-being over the hollow satisfaction of seeing something through just because you've come this far. Your heart knows when it's time, and when it tells you, be brave enough to listen. The universe has so much more in store for you once you create space for it. Remember, the door you're southwest afraid to close is often the very thing standing between you and a life of peace, fulfillment, and joy. Take the leap. Trust that by letting go, you are making room for the kind of life that will make your heart sing, rather than weigh it down each and every day. The fear that whispers in the back of our minds, telling us that lightning won't strike twice, that something so great, so rare, could never come around again. It's this very fear that grips us and convinces us to cling tightly to what we know, even when it's no longer serving us, no longer making us happy. It's a sneaky kind of fear, one that tugs at the strings of doubt and insecurity, and makes us question whether we'll ever find something or someone that makes us feel the same way again. But let me share a truth with you, one that you've likely heard in the quieter moments of your heart. Good things happen not just once, but over and over again. Life is not a one-shot deal where we only get one moment of happiness, one person who makes our heart skip a beat, one passion that sets our soul on fire. No, my dear, life is much more abundant than that. You may have convinced yourself that this one job, this one relationship, this one dream was it, that nothing else could possibly compare. But if you take a step back and look at your own life, you'll find countless examples where you thought you couldn't move on, where you believed you'd never find something better. Yet here you are. How many times have you looked back and laughed at the things you once held onto so tightly? At the moments when you thought your world would end if you let go, only to realize later that life had something even greater in store for you. It's human nature, my young friend, to focus on the losses, the things that didn't go our way. We dwell on the negative, on what didn't work out, because fear has a funny way of keeping us tied to those things. But fear is a trickster. It convinces us that if we let go, we will be left with nothing, that the magic won't happen again. But here's the truth, the magic will happen again, and it will come in ways you never imagined, in forms you weren't expecting. It's only when we finally release our grip on the old that we make room for the new, for the better, for the things that are truly meant for us. Holding on out of fear that something so wonderful won't happen again is exactly what keeps us trapped. It's what keeps us from experiencing the full beauty and potential that life has to offer. When we cling to what we know, whether it's a person, a job, or a dream, we're closing ourselves off to all the incredible possibilities waiting just beyond our comfort zone. It's like holding onto a single rose, even though it's wilting, because we're afraid we'll never see another flower again, all the while missing the whole garden blooming around us. You must be fearless in letting go, because in doing so, you invite the universe to surprise you. You tell the world, I trust that what's coming is even better than what I've known. And, trust me, the universe never disappoints when you meet it with that kind of courage. Let go of the fear, and you'll find that great things don't just happen once, they happen again and again, often in ways far more beautiful and fitting than you could have ever dreamed. So, open your hands, my friend. Release what you've been gripping so tightly, and trust that something even greater is on its way to you. Fear is a heavy burden, but freedom, oh, freedom is light. And it's in that lightness that you'll discover just how many wonderful things are waiting for you. Holding on out of fear that something so wonderful won't happen again is exactly what keeps us trapped. It's what keeps us from experiencing the full beauty and potential that life has to offer. When we cling to what we know, whether it's a person, a job, or a dream, we're closing ourselves off to all the incredible possibilities waiting just beyond our comfort zone. It's like holding onto a single rose, even though it's wilting, because we're afraid we'll never see another flower again, all the while missing the whole garden blooming around us. You must be fearless in letting go, because in doing so, you invite the universe to surprise you. You tell the world, I trust that what's coming is even better than what I've known. And, trust me, the universe never disappoints when you meet it with that kind of courage. Let go of the fear, and you'll find that great things don't just happen once, they happen again and again, often in ways far more beautiful and fitting than you could have ever dreamed. So, open your hands, my friend. Release what you've been gripping so tightly, and trust that something even greater is on its way to you. Fear is a heavy burden, but freedom, oh, freedom is light. And it's in that lightness that you'll discover just how many wonderful things are waiting for you. The mind, a masterful trickster. It convinces us to hold on to illusions, to see things through the lens of what we wish they were, not for what they truly are. We wrap ourselves in comforting stories that protect our hearts and our egos, because facing the cold, hard truth is sometimes too painful to bear. But here's the thing, young one, truth is the ultimate liberator. When you start seeing things as they are, and not as you wish them to be, you free yourself from the chains of false hope and self-deception. If you've come to a point where letting go feels like the only option, it's often because, deep down, you already know that what you've been holding on to has already slipped away. Whether it's a person who has drifted out of your life, an opportunity that didn't land in your lap, or a dream that no longer serves you, the universe is trying to show you that it's time to move on. But our minds, oh, they're crafty. They tell us, maybe it's not over yet. Maybe you can still fix it. Maybe if you just try harder, and so we stay, gripping tighter, convincing ourselves that this illusion is still worth holding on to. But that only deepens our suffering, prolongs our heartache, and dims our light. We start living in a version of reality that no longer exists. We try to force something to work that was never truly meant for us. But reality, my friend, doesn't play along with our fantasies. What you see is what you get. If someone let you go, they didn't want to stay. If an opportunity passed you by, it wasn't meant for you. And you know what? That's okay. Because when you stop holding on to things not meant for you, you make room for the things that are. It's a tough pill to swallow, but in accepting this, you open the door to the blessings that are waiting just for you. And, trust me, they will come. Letting go is not just about releasing others or external situations, it's about releasing parts of yourself that keep you stuck. Let go of the fear that tells you you're not good enough. Let go of the past that weighs you down. Let go of the mistakes you keep beating yourself up over. Forgive yourself, fully and completely, for all the times you clung to things that weren't right for you, for all the moments when your light dimmed because of your own self-doubt. In letting go, you step into your power. You step into a life that is no longer dictated by fear, by missed opportunities, or by people who didn't see your worth. You step into a life where you trust the flow of the universe, where you know that whatever is meant for you will find you, and whatever isn't will leave to make room for something better. So, see it for what it is, not what you wish it could be. And when you do, you'll realize that letting go isn't an act of weakness, it's an act of strength. It's choosing peace over illusion, freedom over fear, and self-love over self-deception. You deserve nothing less.